Did The Mandalorian just reveal the fate of a famous character? This is the way, Fandalorians, because in the wee hours of Friday morning, The Mandalorian made its triumphant return to Disney Plus for its sophomore season, and with it comes even more Mando melees, adorable Baby Yoda antics, killer creatures, and more Mando lore than anyone could have asked for.
I would like to see the baby.
Yes, Werner Herzog, I already mentioned the wee Baby Yoda. What are you doing?
Oh, thank the Force!
Anyway, the season premiere, titled The Marshal, sees Din Djarin returning to the familiar world of Tatooine on his quest to find other Mandalorians who brings the child back to the adults. Now, we all knew that was coming from the trailers, but what we didn't know is that this episode would answer one of Star Wars' biggest mysteries. However, before I go any further, I do need to warn you, this episode of Nerdist News will contain massive spoilers for The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1. So if you haven't seen it yet, well, strap on your nearest jetpack and fly on out of here until this is all over. Okay, are all these spoiler phobes gone? Good, let's get into it. So what mystery of the galaxy far, far away are we talking about? Why, none other than the fate of the worst goddamn bounty hunter in the galaxy, Boba Fett. When we last saw this disintegration-prone bounty hunter in Return of the Jedi, a blind man knocked him into the gaping maw of the Pit of Carkoon, a pit that contained a massive creature known as the Sarlacc. Now, according to C-3PO, in its belly you will find a new definition of pain and suffering as you are slowly digested over 1,000 years. For years, Boba Fett existed in a strange quantum state of canonicity. He appeared in various stories that became Star Wars legends, but never in the official canon, so he was both alive and dead at the same time. And for approximately 99% of the Marshal, it seemed we finally learned that Boba was no longer Schrodinger's Fett. Because between Timothy Oliphant's backwater Marshal of Mos Pelgo, Cobb Vanth, wearing Boba's iconic armor, which he purchased from a bunch of Jawas who found said armor inside of a Sarlacc, to a massive subterranean critter doing Dune cosplay, the Krayt Dragon who devoured said Sarlacc and now calls its pit home, well, it seemed like we could finally say goodbye to Boba Fett once and for all. Until the final moments of the episode, that is, because as the Mando rides off into the sunset on his speeder bike with Boba Fett's armor in tow, we see a mysterious man in dark robes with a Tusken Raider cycler rifle and gaffy stick on his back. And when he turns around, we see it's Temuera Morrison, the actor best known for playing Jango Fett in the prequels, who now is playing his identical clone son, Boba Fett.
Yep.
That's right, folks. Not only did Boba Fett escape the Sarlacc, he's been lying low in the Dune Sea, presumably waiting for the right time to strike and retrieve his iconic armor from Cobb Vanth. Now, this wasn't our only clue. If you look closely at this mystery man's appearance, he's grizzled, scarred, battered. He looks like someone who survived a harrowing encounter with a Lovecraftian nightmare made entirely of teeth, like the Sarlacc. So why didn't Boba Fett retrieve his armor sooner? Well, probably it wasn't the best time to be an infamous bounty hunter who's best known across Tatooine for working for the most prominent and corpulent crime lord in the land, as well as actively trying to murder some of the galaxy's greatest heroes of the rebellion by working with folks like Darth Vader and the Empire. I know, not the best PR for poor Boba. So much like Obi-Wan Kenobi so many That's No moons ago, he disappeared into the Dune Sea, living rough in the desert and trying to keep a low profile. Now, given his choice of outfit and weaponry, something tells us Boba's been undercover as a Tusken Raider, a disguise that would dissuade locals from getting too close, given their reputation for brutality. Now, as our resident Bantha herder Michael Walsh noted on Nerdist.com, Amy Sedaris' motherly mechanic Pelimoto told Din how little travel there is between cities on Tatooine. Mos Pelgo was barely on the map. That means it'd be remarkably easy to drop off the grid on Tatooine for years and years, especially if you have a big old target on your back. So maybe Boba was waiting for the heat to die down, maybe he was recovering from his injury sustained while being a human hors d'oeuvre, or maybe he was trying to track down the exact location of his armor and finally found his way to Cobb Vanth and Mos Pelgo. Now we do have a bunch of questions about this reveal, like how exactly did Boba escape the Sarlacc? Did he use his armor to escape? Did he lose it in the escape attempt? Did he claw his way out when the Krayt Dragon was having a little Sar snack? Where did it go? How did the Jawas get their greasy little mitts on it? But the bigger question now is what exactly is Boba Fett going to do about this? Because as we well know, Mandalorian armor is a prized possession and deeply important to those who wear it. While Boba himself might not be a true Mandalorian, I'm sure that armor, much like the type worn by his dear departed decapitated daddy, was important to him and he probably wants it back. Because let's face it, look, robes, super comfortable, especially in a desert, but that bad boy has a frickin' jetpack, so I'd want that back too. Now, the Mando, it seems, has a lot more to worry about suddenly than just Moff Gideon and the Darksaber, because now he has another bounty hunter on his trail. Admittedly, the worst bounty hunter this side of Toro Calican, but a bounty hunter nonetheless. Now, Din Djarin needs to find other Mandalorians to help him bring the wee baby Yoda back to his wee adult people, but so far, between Cobb Vanth and Boba Fett, all he's found is a whole lot of trouble. We'll just have to wait and see what exactly happens next. Now, considering that Tamira Morrison is also reportedly going to be playing another clone, Commander Rex, this season, we definitely haven't seen the last of him. Now, make sure you join us back here next Friday as we keep diving into The Mandalorian Season 2. But in the meantime, folks, tell me, what did you think of this episode? What deep-cut references and lore did you notice? Do you think that Boba Fett is going to become a new villain for The Mandalorian?
Thank the Force!
Let's discuss in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture and even more Mandalorian deep dives, make sure you stay tuned to Nerdist.com.